Hello, Wanderers. Welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following Ivar Twistfoot, the no longer wandering Skald. And in that last episode, our dear adventurer and traveler finally settled down here in the county of Quayar after his long journey. And I know I was pronouncing that wrong in the last episode, and I'm sure that some of you were, shaking your heads at it because I always pronounce things wrong, and that's just simply the way things are going to be. But I hope I'm pronouncing it a little bit better. Quayar is apparently as close as I'm going to get, anyways. And in any case, we have a little bit of things to do here now that we have settled. But there's something that I want to do really quickly first, and that is show you something very, very cool. So I just wanted to show you this because I think it gives entirely new context to Ivar's journey. And that is, if we look at the path on Google Maps, it is absolutely insane to imagine. Now, you probably can't get this same idea when you're looking at the Crusader Kings 3 map, but we're going to follow Ivar's path here a little bit just on his journey there. And so, he started over here in Karuna, and we can look at it, pretty closely here. And the distances involved in this, it gives a completely new sense of just how far his journey was when we look at it like this. Just the idea of him setting sail out into the ocean here, traveling all the way out, and then making his way down the coast of Spain and Portugal. I mean, this is already a long distance here. This is just him going around one side and then coming around and going through the Strait of Gibraltar, making his way up through the Mediterranean here, all the way past Sardinia and to Rome, stopping at Rome, traveling around Italy. We're not even counting all of his travels in Italy. Going to Venice, making his way from Venice down the coast, down to Athens, where we saw he stopped. He also went to Constantinople and back down to Rhodes. And then from Rhodes, we went to Alexandria and then all the way across from Alexandria down to the pyramids of Giza. And this is a huge distance already to imagine. From Giza, he went and traveled across Egypt here and into the Sinai and down through that. And then he visited the Cathedral of St. Catherine, which we can see on the map here, right over here, the actual place that exists still today. 6th century Greek monastery still exists today. You could go see it if you wanted to. And then he goes up and all the way through here. And then he visits Petra as well, which is somewhere along here. Where is it? Somewhere in this area, anyways. Visits Petra. And then he makes his way up, visits Jerusalem, spends time in the Holy Land. He goes through Damascus. And then he travels, probably not across the desert like this. I imagine he would have followed the river there. But he goes and visits Baghdad, and then from Baghdad all the way up here through Samarkand, to where Bukhara is now. Obviously from, the family of the whale that walks Bukhara Kuda, Artavan here. And then from there, he makes his way all the way through. Like, imagine going through, these mountain passes here, like making his way through all these mountain passes. There's probably some like small trade routes and stuff that he could maybe have made his way through on his way. We know he went through Kashmir and then going through to Delhi and then all the way back. I mean, even when we're just flying over it like this, it still feels like less than it is, but you can zoom in so much. And like, this is all the way, he's traveling all this entire way here days turn to months, months turn to years as he continues on his journey. And then, he's making his way back to the coast here. He finds a ship. The ship is taking him across to Basra. He goes from Basra back to Baghdad. And then from there, he goes from Antioch and takes this, and he sails back to Rome and up to Genoa, and then finally making his way through Tarragona, up from Pamplona, and back to Burgos. And I mean, like I said, even when we look at it like this, it doesn't look that far, but zoom out and just take in the scope of that journey all the way around there. Truly the most well traveled of any historical traveler in this time period. There were some historical travelers like Ibn Battuta, of course, who went quite a bit further. But in this time period, in the 9th/10th century, Ivar would have been probably the most well traveled of any known traveler. Maybe there were some people who traveled further, but as far as I could tell, within history, within this time period, nobody is known to have traveled farther than this journey. And we can see here, it says, 22,000 kilometers. It was probably more than that just because of all the adventuring he did around these lands. But that is a massive, massive distance. And I just thought it was really cool to see that, when we zoom out on the map and just looking at the distance of Ivar's journey and just trying to imagine, a day of just, crossing. Probably would take like days just to cross these mountains here, seeing sights like like this lake here and all these amazing things that he would have seen along his journey. And we can look, and the terrain that Ivar would be seeing is the same terrain that we're seeing here, maybe slightly changed, you know after 1,000 years, but not significantly. And a lot of these places are going to be still on the map. Settlements that Ivar would have visited are settlements that are still on the map now. And, it is really cool to imagine it in this way. I think it gives a whole new context. So just thought that would be cool to share with you guys. So I'd like to thank the commenter who suggested that, mentioning Google Earth and getting me to go and take a look at it gave me a whole new perspective on Ivar's journey, and I've got a lot more respect for this man now, more than I had before. Obviously he's just a fictional character, but I've grown attached to him, and I think many of you have as well. And so it's pretty cool to see that. And some people were pointing out that Ivar, he's looking a lot older, and that's understandable considering how far that journey took him, and losing his wife along the way, that's going to age a man. And so now he's going to enjoy his golden years here in Cuellar, ruling over Segovia. And yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Now, I have done a couple things in between the episode there. The first thing that I'll show you is I have gone and changed the culture of Cuellar to Castellian. Now, the reason for that is not because of anything against Ivar's connections to the Andalusian culture, of which he has quite a few, but simply because if we have the goal of creating a cultural hybrid, it makes far more sense for it to be a cultural hybrid of Norse and Castellian than of Norse and Andalusian, because there's barely any Norse influence, probably almost no Norse influence with the Andalusian culture, whereas the Norse have been up here in northern Iberia for quite some time now. And so it makes a lot more sense that if we're forming a cultural hybrid, that it would be in a place in amongst cultures where the Norse people and the Iberian people of a particular region are intermingling. And so that's why I've set our county here as Castellian, in order to potentially create a Castellian Norse hybrid in the future there, which makes a lot more sense than Norse Andalusian hybrid, because Ivar's not the only person who could potentially be following this, or be of this new culture. It could be it could be a lot of people around here who are intermarrying with the Norse. There's probably already an entire generation of children with Castilian or Asturleonese or Galician parents, one of them, and then a Norse parent as well. So yeah, pretty cool to see, and even Basque as well up here in Norlanda. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to think about, and it's something that we're going to be looking at. I mean, if we take a look at the cultural acceptance, it's not very high right now, just 15%, but we are going to be attempting to boost that. The other thing that I did between episode was I did some things for our sons. Now, you'll notice here that the bishopric of Cuellar is actually now in the hands of suffragan Bishop Enoch Iverson. Yeah, so our son has come back to us, and he is now building up this little church over here in these new lands that we're ruling over. And he's going to be administering the faith to the people of this settlement here. And I think that's really cool to see him in this position. He's only 21 years of age, but considering Ivar rules over these lands, he has a lot of influence in getting his son to be the bishop, or to be that kind of the head priest of the area. It wouldn't be any trouble for Ivar. He would probably have that level of influence just to make that happen. And Ivar, or Bishop Enoch, he's a very holy man. He's as a kid, he was already leaning towards that kind of way. And so makes a lot of sense, I think, despite his young age. Then over here in the city of Uqueda, we have our son Lucidio. Lucidio is kind of managing the little town down here in the valley for us. So we've got Ivar's Hall up here in the hills, the foothills here, Segovia. So Ivar's got his hall, which he's kind of, where he's managing his salon and things like that. But then down, actually maybe even the salon's down in the town. But he's got the town down just a little bit further down the valley, and then on the plains below is this bishopric. And so it's just all kind of his family members ruling over these places. And Lucidio's pretty young as well, but he's Ivar's son, and Ivar would trust him to kind of take care of that kind of thing. And so yeah, I think that's pretty fitting as well. So that's two of our sons. What about our third son, or our second son, Vemender? What about him? Well, Vemender is no longer with us. He's actually gone on a journey to the courts of the Emperor. Indeed, Vemender has become a Varangian. Now, you might be wondering, weren't the Varangians not around at this time? Yeah, the Varangians in history weren't around till, I believe, 988. However, if you look in the game here, you will see that there are already plenty of Varangians existing in the game. So presumably in this alternate history, the Varangian Guard was formed a little bit earlier. And we even have characters like Knud, the son of Sigurd Snake in the Eye, who was a Varangian. And then we've got all these other kind of interesting characters, including one really strange one, Eystein Maphekon Af Anan here, a eunuch who is also a Varangian. He's an Asatru Cumbrian man. His father was an Asatru Cumbrian man as well. So pretty strange and interesting how that came about there. But yeah, so Vemender has joined the ranks of the Varangian Guards. He'll serve there for a while and then presumably return home, more skilled and more well learned and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see how he turns out along with that. And then we've got our daughters here. One of our daughters, I believe, yeah, we've gotten her married here to Ivar Barredson. This is the nephew of our deceased best friend Earl Tolier. So, and this is the Jarl of Jorvik. So his son is now married and his heir. is now married to our daughter, so that's potentially a pretty strong alliance for Ivar. We've had close ties with House Ivaring for some time, and so that's pretty fitting there. Our daughter Saga has a betrothal with Vigfus Eliasson. I think we had arranged that last time already. And then our other daughters, not really worrying about them just yet, in terms of marriages anyways. I think we kind of dote on our young daughter Helen here because, she's got the twist foot as well. Same with Ear. Our two youngest daughters, I think Ivar really dotes over. So we're going to try to take good care of them during this time. So yeah, that's kind of the current situation, and I suppose the main thing that we have to consider is that there's an election going on, or essentially not quite an election as we know it, but a Scandinavian elective going on here in the Kingdom of Castelli and in Lyon, but we have no influence over that one. We do have some over the Kingdom of Castelli, and I know that I had mentioned potentially putting our friend Ordonu as our selection, but I actually don't think that makes sense. We just got this land from King Ingolfur, who's married to our niece, and we have good relations. He is literally of our family. He's technically our cousin. He's the son of our cousin and best friend, King Harold Fairhair. I don't think it makes sense for us to really go against that and try to put our friend Lord Ordonu on the thing. I think it really probably just makes sense for us to back the heir of the king and our bloodline here. So we're gonna go and find that kid. Whereabouts is he? Which one? There we go. Prince Balder. Yeah, Prince Balder is going to be the one that we're backing here. It just only makes sense. Ivar's got a lot of influence as well, so we should be able to ensure that. But yeah, he is family, and so that's what we're gonna back. Ordonu. Who knows what's going to happen? If Ordonu attacks and tries to take his lands back, Ivar's going to be in a little bit of a quandary, but I don't see him trying to put his friend on the throne. Not in this situation, not with good relations with our family right now. So I just don't really see it happening too much. So I'm going to get time rolling here and just kind of see what happens. Greetings, my charming vassal. You have been a loyal and devoted subject. I wish to reward you for your service. In recognition of this, I am hereby offering you the position of Spymaster of Castelli. I am actually going to decline this one because I don't think Ivar has any interest in being a Spymaster. He's not particularly good at it. And I don't think he wants to, immediately leave his lands in Quayar and go and just hang around in the new capital here in Burgos. I think he wants to administer his land. So even though we would get some bonuses from that, I don't think we're going to take it just because it doesn't really make sense for what Ivar is going to be trying to do right now. And here we had a poet arrive, Sigurbjorn the Elegist. Interesting. The mournful and melancholic verses that Sigurbjorn is famed for brings a tear to even the most hard-hearted of listeners. That is pretty cool here. To my surprise, Gamza came to the joust meet for young knights in Segovia. While the meet was necessary, I had a far better time sitting inside discussing my plans for the coming tax season with Gamza. What use is an army after all, without the means to feed it, as she pointed out. Oh, is she trying to flirt with us here? Our daughter-in-law Gamza. So Vemender has gone off to serve in the Varangian Guard, and he left his wife back home. So I don't know, maybe they weren't actually getting on all that well. But I must thank Gamza for her visit. Interesting. Okay. She might be flirting with us, which is going to be rather uncomfortable here. Now, we have gone and set up our council here. So I'll just run you through that really quick because there are some familiar names and faces here. So obviously our bishop is Enoch here, our suffragan bishop. We've just got him currently on religious relations because we don't really have any reason to fabricate any claims, or we don't need to convert the faith because it's already Mos-Arabic here. We've got Shyla the Weak here. This was the kid. No, this was this the kid? I think I can't remember where we got this guy. I thought he was one of the ones that we found on the shipwreck. Maybe he was. But either way, we've got him as our chancellor. I can't really remember where he came from, but he's got he's actually got decent stats here. So pretty good there. He's a rabbinic Sephardi guy. Our steward is Theodosios. This was the teacher that we brought with us from Constantinople over here and brought back with us, who's currently married to Mayor, one of our poets, one of the main head poets of our salon, I imagine, considering that she's 81 years of age and she's been with us for a while. Our marshal is Adolfo. I mean, he'll probably do a fairly reasonable job than that. We could probably get a better marshal, but I don't think we really need one. And Adolfo has served us well, and so we'll keep him in that position. We've currently got him training commanders, so I'm sure he'll do well enough at that. And of course, our spy master has to be Artavan, the whale that walks of Bakara Kuda. And yeah, we'll see how he does. So yeah, and currently our steward is promoting culture, and Shyla is doing foreign affairs, and Artavan is just disrupting schemes. I have also gone and filled pretty much every court position that I can. So we've got our personal physician, Sebastianos. Saib Jatir is still our caravan master. The nuns are still with us. So our antiquarian is Sister Cesinetta de Pontiac. Our seneschal is Sister Anglesa. So these two sisters have just been with us this whole time, and good for them. Now we've got our tutor as well, and that is Isaac de Caceres, who is, considering his backstory and how he went, to go and learn from the scholars here in Navarra, and then kind of got kicked out. Makes sense that he would make for a good tutor. We've currently got him educating our children, as you might have saw on a pop-up there. Our wet nurse is Renisa, who is a Mataridi person, I think. Oh yeah, this is the mother of our daughter-in-law, Gamza. We need a master of hunt, and so I think that we're probably going to pick, well, Zaid's got some jobs already. Our master of hunt, we've got a couple options here. Mayor Lucidio, he's only average, our son. Ivar, oh, you know what? Maybe the, well, we should probably get somebody who's excellent at it, right? Chaim? Oh, Chaim was the kid. This was the kid who we found in the ship. All right, you can be our master of hunt. We've even got a garden hermit. Not sure how we get that. It's because we're landed or an estate owner and you found a garden hermit during your travels. Okay, so that's cool. What does he do? Wise man trade experience, prestige, learning lifestyle. Okay, cool enough. Yeah, so Hippatios the Heathen is our garden hermit. Pretty cool. Our court chronicler is Eagle, one of our poets. And then Zaid Garcia, very skilled man, though getting up there in age, is our personal champion and bodyguard. And we've got another bodyguard as well, Madanavaraman. And this is a Mos-Arabic Kanauji guy that we picked up. It must have been a convert along our journey there. So yeah, we're paying for a lot, but we should be getting money back once some of these buildings finish over here. Once the simple pastures are done and the guilds in the town and the chapel, that should boost up our money, so we're at least breaking even. And Ivar is still quite rich. 587, almost 600 is a lot of money, you know, when you look at some of the other rulers in the region. Even if we take a look at, say, the current emperor, Emperor Amaury, of the Holy Roman Empire, who seems to be facing a little bit of trouble down here. I guess Charles the Great has finally died, which man, that took him a long time. 82 years of age this guy lasted until, and he really expanded the Holy Roman Empire pretty significantly. So France and most of Germany and all of northern Italy all brought within the domain of the Holy Roman Empire. So we'll see what happens. It would be crazy if it actually broke up. There's some pretty big lands in it, like East Frisia is still around as a kingdom. But yeah, if this broke up, we'd have a lot of very small kind of independent realms over here in France, which would be really cool to see. We've also got a Kingdom of England. Alfred the Great, or Alfred the Honest as he is known in this timeline, did manage to form England somehow, despite the fact that he only controls that little portion of it, the southern part. He's got his work cut out for him, defeating those Vikings. Mercia is ruled over by the son of Hastings. Hastings finally dead. Died under mysterious circumstances. He wasn't going to die of old age. He had to kill the man. Then we've got Gwynedd, which is ruled by one of Hastings' other sons. Jorvik over here. And Alba. Pretty strong looking Alba, actually. They've managed to take over the Isles there. So, and then we've got Meath here. So the Irish are still doing okay. And there's actually Norse Catholics ruling Ireland here. But I believe his family originally were Irish. So kind of cool. Interesting things going on all around the world there. So just kind of catching you up on Western Europe because, yeah, it's a little kind of a fascinating bit of development now that we're how many years into this campaign? Like 30 years or so? Not all that long, but, you know, a lot can change in 30 years. So, yeah, I think, you know what, we're probably going to go up to speed 4. We have been appointed to King Ingolfur's court musician. Well, that, I think, is actually pretty fitting. I wonder if we get any bonuses. Oh, and Ivar's nickname has changed to the Far Walker. This character was made famous for his long journey. Of course he was. So, yeah, we are the court musician, which is cool. Oh gosh, a sensual proposal. Wherever I go, my daughter-in-law Gamza is sure to follow. That look in her eyes, the words on her lips, I know exactly what she is after. I will keep her close, very close. No. House, never the world. I tire of these games, leave me alone. No one will attempt to seduce me for 10 years. Never the world will. I don't think we're gonna out her. It's too bad we can't, like, demand that she divorce our son, but no, I don't think we're going to. I say tire of these. How sweet, but no. Yeah, I think we'll just deny her. She is pregnant, so presumably pregnant with our son's child just before he left to go to the Varangians. So yeah, but maybe we're a little bit worried. This was within the timeline, you know, our son just left, you know, not so long ago. So I think, you know, this does seem reasonable, but now we might be a little bit concerned about such things. Our friend Aaliyah has died. This was our sister-in-law, originally the wife of Enoch, the brother of our dear wife, Juliana. So, yeah, I mean, we're probably just there's probably not gonna be as much for us to do, really, you know, in this time. We're just gonna be kind of playing things out and seeing how events go and just kind of keeping an eye on things. Ooh. Greetings, my benign vassal. You have been a loyal and devoted subject. I wish to reward you for your service. In recognition of this, I am hereby offering you the position of Steward of Castelli. That one's actually tempting because you do gain some good money and stuff from this. But, like I said, Ivar I don't think Ivar is ready to go to Burgos just yet. You know, maybe a little bit later, but right now we're more concerned with administering our little county here. So as much as it pains me to say no to this, we are going to, especially because you get +3 gold per month for being the steward. And yeah, but obviously if we were the steward, we would need to be spending a lot of time in Burgos, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Not only that, but Ivar is, you know, his stewardship is good, but that's not really, you know, his thing. So the county of Soria has given rise to Castilian Mozarabic populists. Oh, interesting. Anglesa taught Helen the Doc vulgar language, so Occitan. We should probably make sure that our daughters are... Ooh, our daughter could be a... Saga could be a shield maiden? No. Oh, actually, wow. Ear could be a shield maiden. Interesting. She's got the club foot, but look at her prowess. Very high, despite the fact... maybe we've been training her. You know, because Ivar learned how to fight with his club foot. So maybe Ear has been our little protege. Can we make her a shield maiden? She's still a child, but when she turns 16, we'll be able to make her a shield maiden. And I think that's what we're gonna do for Ear. Some of our other daughters shall, you know, shall be wedded, but Ear can be a good shield maiden, I think. So yeah, there's all sorts of things still going on around the realm, of course. You know, conquering and whatnot. Here we have a gift. To the modest Ivar, please accept this humble gift. It is not much, but I hope it is of use to our continued friendship. Look at this. The Pope is sending us gifts. Isn't that crazy? Wow, okay. So if there's anybody richer than Ivar, it's the Pope. But, you know, there's not that many. You know, Ivar's still pretty rich, but wow. The Pope is loaded and he's giving us money. So I will accept that gift. That's crazy that the Pope is just sending us money like that. Oh, Mayor has died as well. Dang. All right. Well, let's yeah, let's just kind of see how things play out here. We can demand payments here. We don't really want to because it's just from our kids, so not really seeing any need for that now. Yeah, and so our building's still constructing there. Ivar has finally turned 50 years of age. You know, I am kind of thinking, though, maybe Ivar would have some... Ooh, a prospective shield maiden. My lord, I come before you asking a chance to prove myself, says my daughter Christina. I shift a little in my throne, intrigued, while the court around us strains to listen. Despite being the equal of any of your knights, I am forbidden from taking a place in your shield wall or commanding your troops. I would challenge Zahid to a duel to show my mettle in combat. Christina. Oh, Christina could be a good shield maiden. It's funny that her husband is like such a weak little cowardly man, but Christina's actually kind of a badass. Our only child who ended up being strong. So, and she's got good prowess. Okay, very well. You may duel him. She could become wounded. Zaid, no, you shall fight me. The asking alone is courage enough. A shield maiden, laughable. I don't know if we would make her have to duel with this. I think that you know, asking alone is courage enough. You know, I think that she is worthy of it. She's strong, she's capable. And yeah, you know what? I think and I don't want to embarrass Zaid here. He's 49 years of age. I think we shall say, yeah, she can become a shield maiden. Why not? There we go. So yeah, shield maiden she is. Very capable warrior, our daughter here. 21 prowess. Quite skilled. Here we go. Diplomacy lifestyle perk. I do really want to get the patriarch here. So each living child gains 1 random skill point maximum. Gives you 1 random skill point to a maximum of 5. All right, I wonder what we gained there. Tough to say. Can't really tell. Maybe, yeah, tough to tell. Ooh, activity invitation. We're invited to the Pope's funeral. Huh? Okay, who's the funeral for? It's not for him because he's alive. This is awesome though. That Ivar has been invited to a funeral by the Pope himself. Obviously, Ivar's fame is, you know, knows few bounds, and so this is really cool. You know, if anybody thought that it would be boring once Ivar, settled down, not the case. We're getting some really cool story-related events here. So we're gonna go to the funeral. Ivar, his traveling ain't done yet. And who knows, maybe he'll do a little bit of journeying on the way back. In fact, maybe we could go and visit our son on the way back and head back over to Constantinople. I'd like to do it by sea though, if possible, via the Aegean Sea. And then after that, we'll take the sea route back. It's just a little bit less danger there. So yeah, let's go and visit our son while he's over there in Constantinople, and visit the emperor while we're at it, because Ivar knows the emperor. So yeah, let's head over there. And look at this, Enoch is our regent, so that's really cool. Saga has come of age. She is a flamboyant trickster. No idea why our kids are all getting the level 2 trait, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna stress over it. Yeah, Ivar is going to go on a little journey. I mean, if the Pope invites you to a funeral, you should probably go. In the quiet of our camp near Mulina, a shrieking uproar breaks the calm. My friend Artavan confronts my bodyguard, Madan Varman, accusingly. Hold a treasured charm. You thief, this was my mother's, Artavan exclaims, his eyes blazing with anger. You lying fiend, it has always belonged to me. Oh, dear. Well, Artavan is our friend and our spy master. So I think that we're going to trust Artavan here. So Artavan and the other guy will become rivals. Yeah, Artavan, he is causing that little bit of drama in the camp, as he sought to. One interesting thing too, Ivar, he's no longer married, but I don't know if, he's immune to love. And so once we go beyond this, oh, here it is, Pope Eugenius the Bearded. Yeah, okay, so we knew this emperor, or this pope. Ivar knew Pope Eugenius here. So I guess, and we probably knew Callistus as well. I don't know if he was one of the bishops that we met, or maybe one of the, I guess it's a cardinal. Maybe he was one of the cardinals that we met when we were over here in Rome. But he obviously invited Ivar because Ivar is extremely famous and well-learned, and having Ivar at this funeral would be a prestigious thing, of course. So, yeah, we are greeted by the magnanimous Pope Callistus. We're also here for the funeral of Pope Eugenius of the papacy. That's really cool here. And a really interesting event. What's the guest list looking like? Ordonu is here. So we would get to see Ordonu, and wow, we haven't probably seen him in a little while. It's cool that Ordonu, wow, that is such awesome. This is so cool. The way that the events have gone in this are just really, really interesting here. Not too many other named people have shown up. Count Alessio, but not the most prestigious for a big funeral, or for the funeral of a pope. I and other mourners take a reprieve from our grief to enjoy a great bounty of food. Count Alessio of Tivoli, usually the lifeblood of any feast, now sits across from me, misty-eyed, with an untouched goblet at his side. How can we make ourselves fat and merry in times like these? Are we to satisfy our hedonistic desires while Eugenius has none? Join me, empty your goblets in libation. The guests seem to agree. There's wisdom in Alessio's oafish lamentation. Join the offering. A round of drinks for all, or I will remember him. Yeah, I think we can do a round of drinks for everybody. Gain a little bit of legitimacy, which is good. We got to keep boosting that if we can. Of all the figures venerated and villainous, none have been desired more than our departed Pope Eugenius. Maybe they desire his blessing. I'm left with a last moment of solace between myself and my acquaintance here. A time for quiet prayer. I promise to be a better count. We gain unrelenting devotion for 15 years. Allow myself a moment of grief. I think that maybe it's a time for quiet prayer. Let's see. Before me, a feasting table stocked high with all manner of food and drink, as if Pope Eugenius were trying to offer a final act of magnanimity before parting. Pope Callistus of the papacy has so far refused to lay a finger on the banquet, however, swilling his goblet around in idle solace. His middle-distance stare falls warily upon me, and with a quiet nod, he raises his drink eye to Pope Eugenius of the papacy, truly one of the greats. Speak a quiet prayer, we could. Tell us what he really meant to you. Let's see. Oh, diplomacy challenge. Great indeed, and I will be greater still. I don't think we're gonna do that. I think we'll probably speak a quiet prayer. Could we try to befriend the Pope? I probably should have done this a little bit earlier, but there's still time. 3 months till it ends. Hunched beside me, bereft of any pretense of propriety, the inconsolable Sukaina gazes out into the nothingness before her. Not a tear falls from her eyes, not a word passes her mouth until she turns to me. God can be cruel indeed. Why does the wind still yet blow? Why does the sea continue its push to shore? Why does my body ache for food and thirst for water? The second coming is upon us. My acquaintance is dead. Now remember, we must not allow grief to overwhelm us, we say. We are offered the position of steward of Castellian. I'll still decline it. Here. In the quiet corner of the church, I overhear Flavio chatting with a group of mourners. He somberly gestures me over. We all have fond memories of the Pope. I was just talking about the time I was acclaimed by Pope Eugenius as a knight of true distinction. Tell me, do you have any memories to share? Yes, I knew him well, actually. We do have some memories to share. We did know the Pope. So there we go. 80% chance we lie our way through. Well, it's an exaggeration. Of course. Oh, gosh. Hold on. I just saw some activity here. Artavan and Maiden Avarman got into a fight. The two rivals fighting each other at the Pope at the funeral. And look at this. Ordonu naively promised a favor to Pope Callistus. Oh man, Ordonu is probably trying to get himself some. Oh, look at this. He's got a scar as well. He's been doing some fighting. He's got Mubarazuns with him as well. Cool. Oh, he lost the daughter. Damn. But yeah, he's obviously trying to weasel his way into getting some patrons over here and getting probably some money and some troops for an eventual return to Iberia, I imagine. Oh man, cool. There's so much cool. This is a cool playthrough, I gotta say. I am really enjoying it. All eyes fall upon Artavan as he falls to the ground in lamentation, hands coating his reddened eyes from view. His sorrowful gasps and chokes have left his fellow mourners breathless, and many offer him comfort and reverence as if it were him to be committed to the hereafter. Oh man, Artavan, you... Oh, what a crazy guy. All eyes must only fall upon me. I can only mourn in my own way. I offer comfort. I can only mourn in my own way. I don't think we're falling for it. I think we're probably a little embarrassed by Artavan's display there. Yeah, oh man. Ordonu's promising all sorts of favor to the new Pope here. Will we get an event to get the Pope on our side? That would be nice, but doesn't look like it. Oh wait, no, there's still a little bit more here. Now the time has come to commit Pope Eugenius to his final rites and his journey into thereafter. His enshrouded body is held suspended above an open grave, surrounded by close friends and family. So at the head is Pope Callistus, a privileged place of mourning afforded only to a magnanimous host. We are given a few traditional prayers for the deceased, then his body is slowly lowered into his grave where he may rest in paradise for eternity. Beautiful. So the funeral of a pope. Cool. What an interesting series of events there. Yeah, that was fascinating. Especially, oh, what's going on here? Liberty War. Well, okay, we don't need to worry about that. Yeah, that's really cool, especially that Ordonu was there. So Ordonu getting, well, but Ordonu is a Satru, is he not? So what's he doing, you know, with the Pope? He is still a Satru, but, you know, he was a Christian for a long time. So he might be pretending to Christianity. Yeah, he's over here in Italy trying to get himself. And he's got an alliance. Oh, he's got an alliance to the. No, how did he get that? I actually don't know how this happened, you guys. I know I set some stuff up between episodes, but I promise you I had nothing to do with this. I have no idea how he would even get an alliance with that, like that. Because he is married to somebody, a former Doge, but it's from a different family than the current Doge, so I have really no idea. Man, that's crazy though. Ordonu certainly, man, he's going to be using Italy to come back over here, and that is fascinating. I wonder what Ivar and Ordonu would have talked about while they were over there. I don't think there's any points of interest we need to hit up. Yeah, no, not really. We've kind of hit up all the major important ones. Maybe we could stop over here on the way back. I mean, gain a little bit of learning lifestyle. I'll let me check if that little bit of learning lifestyle experience is actually worth it for us. What's our learning? It wouldn't really help that much. Yeah, I don't think Ivar would make a stop in North Africa on the way back from a journey like this. I think we're just gonna go and visit our son and see how he's doing over here as one of the Emperor's Varangian guards. Oh, and he did have a son, Ivar. Oh, the son was named after us. You know, or I wonder. You know, we're probably bringing. No, Gamza didn't come along. Okay, so that's cool though that the kid was named after us. Oh, the kid is apparently in the court of. That doesn't really make sense. I presume he should be back to us, and we can bring him back with us here. So that's what we're gonna do. I mean, he, you know, doesn't need to be raised. We'll raise him in our court here, anyways. Makes more sense. Ivar Scallendil. That's cool, though. Okay, so we went and visited our son. You know, spent a little time with him. There was one other interesting thing here, or another interesting person. And you know, Ivar, like I said, he lost his wife, but that was a few years ago. And we do have an interesting character here. Theodosia, she was one of the characters. She started off briefly as our rival when we were studying in Constantinople, but then she became our friend. And, you know, now that she's over here in Constantinople, you know, I think we're going to invite her back to our court. And I think we're going to bring her back with us. And you know what? Maybe Ivar could find love again. Oh, yeah, let's see. So we're going to bring her back. We're going to, you know, tell her, you know, we've got, you know, this poetry salon, you know, bring your knowledge from Byzantium back here. And, you know, she likes Ivar, you know, we're pretty close. And, you know, maybe she's got a little bit of a crush on him. And yeah, I think that we're going to bring her back, and who knows? Our daughter can get married to Vigfús Eliasson. This was, you know, he's not from any noble dynasty, but I think, I mean, this was, I mean, do we really, I can't remember why I set this one up. He doesn't really even have good traits, but they kind of grew up together. They're of the same age, and I don't think Ivar's really, like, looking for big things. So, you know, I would imagine maybe they just like each other and they come to us and ask if they can get married, and Ivar says, yeah, sure, why not? I think that's just the type of person that he is, he's not gonna stop love just because you know, this kid is technically lowborn. There we go. Our knight has improved. Adolfo is doing good work for us over here. And yeah, like to see it. We could demand some payments, but I don't really, yeah, still don't see much need for that. We could negotiate an alliance. Saga could become a shield maiden as well. She doesn't really seem like the sort, though. Mayor Lucidio, yeah, let's get the alliance with her son. No reason not to. Looks like his wife is pregnant, so that's good. Our liege has managed his war there. Has he filled up the place on his council there? No, he still needs a steward. He really, really wants us to be a steward. We might accept. If he asks us again, we might accept. You know, 3 times the king asks you to join his council. I mean, at some point, you have to agree, right? Oh, a derelict ship. Let's investigate. And there's a survivor. Much to my surprise, I begin to hear a voice hailing our ship as we approach the wreckage. The man appears to be a wealthy noble floating on the remains of a door. Hail! I thought I was to never see another soul again before the sea would claim me as it did my companions. He introduces himself as Prospero, claims to be a noble from the Prince Bishopric of... Oh, okay, so he's actually from Rome. And has offered to pay for safe passage and company. Join us on our travels. Is he good? No, he is not. We'll help you to shore. So yeah, let's take care of that. And yeah, it looks like there's some clashes. Ooh, Taletala has actually taken a bit of a hit. Cortuba is actually pretty strong here. Yeah, we're gonna get a big Cortuba Zenzir. Yeah, so Andalusia is getting some fairly strong. Oh, look at this, Galicia. King Hastin did take over this bit here in Murcia. But what's he facing now? He's facing a rebellion defending against leader Melindu of the Populist Uprising. Interesting. 4,000 troops of them. The Aster Leonese Populist Uprising, but he's got some strong allies, so he should be able to manage himself through that. What do we have here? Negotiate alliance. Oh, and our nephew? Yeah, of course, nephew. We will accept an alliance with you. Why not? I mean, you are the son of our brother. Obviously, we want to look out for the kid. You know? He's 12 years old. He's got a lot, he's got a lot of pressure on him. All right. Greetings, my handsome vassal. Oh, he's really trying to butter us up. You have been a loyal and devoted subject, and I wish to reward you for your service. In recognition of this, I hereby offer you the position of the steward of Castellian. All right, we'll do it. We'll do it for a while. But, you know, we need some time to go, you know, come back home and visit our lands here. So, you know, we do gain some really nice bonuses from this. Where does it say? Effects on you, plus 2% tax per month. That's great. Domain taxes plus 7%. Building construction costs minus 7%, and monthly stewardship lifestyle goes down. Yeah, all pretty good bonuses, honestly. So I'm not gonna be complaining too much about that. And there's only so many times you can turn down the king. Teeming with all manner of wildlife, Christina and I agree that Alcanis would be a splendid place to go on a hunt. Looks like we're gonna go and see which one of us can take down the rabbit. Let's see. And we managed to take it down. Christina, you're gonna need to be a little bit better than that. Ooh, Saracusta. Saracusta is attacking Taletala as well. Another border clash. Interesting. Going for Molina, probably. Toledo is gonna be taking a little bit of a hit. Clearly here. Seasons of change. As we prepare to set off in the morning, I see Artavan stand outside the camp all alone. As I walk over to talk to him, I notice a change in the wind. A refreshing autumn wind ripples through the camp, grabbing leaves and dust from the ground. Summer is behind us. It is time to prepare for the cold of autumn and winter. It's about time for autumn again, huh? Yeah, we'll spend a moment with our friend here, Artavan. A short little delay, but We will return to Quayar quite soon. With her coming of age, my tuition of year has come to an end. She has a decent grasp. Finally, somebody gets a 3rd level trait here. Decent grasp of diplomatic relations. Not too bad. Can we make her a shield maiden? She would accept. Yeah, we'll make Yer a shield maiden as well. Why not? You know, and she doesn't really like men that much anyway, so maybe she'll just be one of our warriors. She's quite capable, obviously. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Ivar's got a couple shield maiden daughters here. I'm gonna adjust the headwear of our daughter here. There we go. She'll let her show off her hair there. But yeah, that is so well done. Souvenirs aplenty. The development growth in the county of Quayar increases by 200. Oh, it's because we got that perk. Yeah, there's one of our perks gives us development when we go to places. Oh, that gave us a huge boost. Oh, because we went to Constantinople, or maybe even just Rome. If we go to a place that has higher development than us, we bring development back with us. Essentially, it's kind of weird, but yeah, that is a nice little boost here. That I think that raised us up by 2 development essentially. If we take a look here. That actually boosts it up nicely, and that puts us, you know, comparable to. I mean, we're the biggest in our realm, so very cool. But that is not all for Ivar Scallendil. We'll have to find out what happens with him in the next episode. Until then, Wanderers, thank you so much for watching.